everyone. I have been on vacation, so I have not been streaming because I've been enjoying, the time away and all that. But I guess it's time to get back into the swing of things and do some streaming, talk about some fun stuff, and then, yeah, do streams. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So we're playing some Diablo 4 today, obviously. Season 1 is still ongoing, so I'm just playing in the season. And I wanted to talk about, we saw Haunted Mansion, so I want to talk about Haunted Mansion. And I saw Barbie a second time. I'd like to talk about that today. As well as there's been some religious stuff that I want to talk about that's kind of been on my mind. So we're going to have a pretty packed full day. Like always, we're going to wait a few minutes for everyone to get in so that we can all have, the discussion together instead of me saying something and then saying it again in 5 minutes and then 5 minutes later once everyone's joined, It's just easier for me to not do that. I am going to die a lot in Diablo today. As you can see, I am the level 75 area and I am level 60. So we are attempting to get some great items for some power leveling by being in an area way above my level, which unfortunately means we are going to be relying on the kindness of others to slay demons because I will not be able to slay the demons at all. As you can tell, the game is also super laggy as of late. I do not know what Blizzard's problem is, but Blizzard quality has just gone way downhill lately between Overwatch and Call of Duty and now this. I know Call of Duty's Activision, but it's Active Blizzard and all that. I do not know why, but the games have just been not very good lately. Even Diablo 4 I was super hyped for, and obviously I'm still playing it, but there's so many things that are wrong with this game and so many things that they need to improve, and there's so many people who just outright quit because they don't want to sit there and put the time into it. Blizzard quality used to mean something, right? If you were getting Diablo 2, Warcraft 3, World of Warcraft, any Blizzard game, you were like, this is gonna be a banger. Their reputation was so good back in the day when Hellgate London came out. I bought that game knowing absolutely nothing about it because I heard that the team who made Hellgate London was all ex-Blizzard employees. So it was just oh, Blizzard employees or ex-Blizzard employees? That means this has to be an amazing game. Spoiler alert, it was not an amazing game. Hellgate London was an absolute huge flop. One of the most notable flops I can think of in recent times. So, Blizzard quality doesn't always mean something great, especially when we're talking about ex-Blizzard employees, but I kind of want to go back and play it now, honestly. I don't even know if you can, because I think it was an online-only game, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But I wanted to go back and see, is it as bad as I remember it to be? I remember it running absolutely terrible and being uninspired, but it's been so long. So I want to go back and play Hellgate London again and see just how good or bad it actually is as an objective reviewer. That's on my list of retro games. I've been really wanting to play Tenchu Z, Way of the Samurai, Dante's Inferno. So I've got a big backlog of retro games I want to play, but at the same time, as y'all know, I've been getting into Warhammer, which means I don't have any money to spare because Warhammer is expensive. I didn't realize how expensive, but I was at the shop, I was playing a game, and there was a guy next to me doing a match of Warhammer, and he only had 4 units on the board. And, usually in Warhammer, people bring in, dozens, if not hundreds of units. It can get huge, and that's why it takes so long and costs so much. So I was like, oh, man, your army's only 4 dudes? Maybe I can play Warhammer. Maybe I can play this game. And so he went and showed me the figures, and, the first figure in his army was $200 for one figure. So even though he only had 4 figures, it was $500 to $600, maybe even $800 full price to get his kit with just 4 dudes. You're paying $800 for 4 pieces of plastic. Like, outrageous. Dexter's here. Lay it on me. I do have some unpopular opinions today. And I know these ones are mostly unpopular, but the first unpopular opinion that comes to mind came from one of those, if you were president for a day, or God King of the world for a day, what is like a law that you would pass immediately? And the one that comes to mind for me, and again, I know this is going to be super unpopular, and I want to preface it by saying that I am not a fan of big government. I don't want more government, but I feel like this one's needed. And that would be, if you want to own a truck and you want to modify anything about any car, you would need to get permission from the government with justification as to why you need to buy that giant truck or why you need to modify your car. Because there are so many people who buy these giant lifted $100,000 trucks who never use it for anything. They don't tow anything, they don't haul anything, they don't have a business for it. Like, they have no need for that, and all it does is kill the environment and annoy everyone else. They don't know how to drive it, they don't know how to park it. So you know what, I want that, but I want it with the addition, I want all car modifications. So when someone goes in and says, well, I need to add a turbo to my Hyundai Civic or Honda Civic, that's a 2001 Honda Civic, you say, well, why do you need to modify that vehicle? Because all they're doing is doing it for like street racing and other illegal things. So if they have a justification, sure, go for it. But I think most people, that would stop most people and say, you don't really have a need for a turbo. You don't really have a need for a 6 mile to the gallon Hummer Generation 3 that's lifted with tank treads. So no, you don't get it. Sorry. I think that's fair. I think you have to be able to justify why you need these monstrosities, so that not everyone is having them just to drive around to your local Walmart and other places. So that's unpopular opinion 1. Apparently, this is unpopular opinion 2, and I didn't think this was an unpopular opinion until I put it on Reddit today, and then I learned, oh, I was wrong. That is a massively unpopular opinion. So, here we go. Massively unpopular opinion number 2. Someone asked what I thought about homeschooling. And Emmy and I have talked about it before. We don't have any kids, but it comes up. We talk about those sorts of things. And so they're like, well, what's your opinion on homeschooling? And my reply was that I don't really believe in homeschooling. Not that it's not beneficial. I definitely can see why people do it. And in theory, in practice, it is a great thing. But the unfortunate truth of the matter is, like, the things you learn in school are mostly useless. Like, learning to read and write, that's good. Basic math, that's fine. But you're never going to need to know, the memorized presidents. You're never going to need to know what year did the Industrial Revolution happen, right? These things don't come up in everyday life. But what does come up in everyday life is social skills, and especially being cramped in like a small classroom with smelly teenagers is a direct skill that you will then use later in your life when you're in a cramped cubicle with smelly coworkers. Like, the ability to put up with people you don't like and do things you don't want to do for 8 hours a day directly correlates to your ability to function in an office. So, like, I know that's kind of awful, but I think that's what the homeschooling misses out on, right? Homeschool kids don't get that experience. They don't learn those social skills. And I hung out with a lot of homeschool kids when I was in high school, and every single one of them was just maladjusted socially. They couldn't handle crowds of people. They couldn't handle social situations. They didn't know how to interact with their fellow peers. And that's honestly so, like, stunting to a child. Their ability to interact with their peers is crucial to their success later in life. And all these people jumped on me like, oh, just because they don't want to be pigs crammed into a trough and you can't do that later in life, like, that's a terrible reason. Well, like, I get your point. Like, yeah, we shouldn't want that life for our kids, but the fact of the matter is, we live in the real world. And in the real world, most people are going to have to work a job that they don't want to work and do things that they don't want to do in said job. So you might as well give them the skills and ability to, cope with it and deal with it versus just saying, well, I don't want my kid to have to work a job they don't like, so I'm not going to give them any skills to cope with it. That way they can't work a job they don't like. That's not a good solution. That doesn't solve any problems. That's just ignoring the main issue, and then that kid's gonna have to go into the workforce or wherever else at some point and still deal with it, just with less skills. So I like the idea of homeschooling, and I think there are some things that could be good for homeschooling, but they just, without getting those social skills, I just see it as a detriment to the children. And apparently that was unpopular. I didn't know that. Then again, it was the Catholic form, and I know that Catholics tend to be very strong in homeschooling, so they can teach their kids Catholicism, which is good. You should want to teach your kid Catholicism, right? You should want to pass the faith on to them. But at the same time, like, I can't be the only one who knows, like, you know how there's like that cliche of the pastor's daughter? Like, it's the same thing, right? If you raise your kid Catholic, at some point they're gonna break free and want to do all the non-Catholic things they weren't allowed to do, right? That's just being a kid. So the idea of, well, I'm gonna homeschool them, that way they have to be Catholic, like, yeah, that'll work for a few years, but there's gonna come a point where they say, I'm not doing this anymore, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I don't think people accept that your kid has the free will and ability to do that. Until all the schools were getting shot up, I thought about homeschooling. It was only for kids with South-controlling parents. Yeah, that's exactly what my experience was. Again, I hung out with a bunch of homeschool kids because I was a bit of an outcast and I didn't have a lot of great friends. So I hung out with some of the homeschool kids, and every single one of them had super, super, super religious parents who were the kind who were like, I have to watch every movie before you can watch it to ensure that it's, good for you. Which, okay, I understand that you want to watch an R-rated film, you got to make sure that the R-rated film doesn't have anything too bad. No, this was like, I need to watch the G-rated film because the G-rated film might mention the word magic or might have, a theme of a poop joke or something like that, and I just won't have my kids watching. Like, so absolutely controlling beyond all belief. And, like, again, those kids, none of them had any skills for dealing with other people. So, when they wanted to be friends, like, okay, I'll be your friend, but like they didn't know how to converse and talk with people, because the only people they ever talked with were other homeschool kids who didn't have any social skills, or their mom. So, like, you gotta give them the ability to go and talk with their peers. And I know they're gonna learn some bad things, but guess what? They're gonna learn those things regardless. They're gonna be exposed to it at some point. There's nothing you can do about that. In fact, you shouldn't do anything about that to a degree, right? Like, we have to protect our kids to a degree, but also sometimes you just gotta let them explore the world and learn the things that they're gonna learn. And sometimes the best you can do is just teach them the context for those things, rather than just saying, it doesn't exist, don't worry about it, it doesn't exist. That doesn't help them, right? And maybe I'm wrong, I'm not a parent, so maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm just talking out my rear end here. I fully accept that maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about, but that seems to me what I've seen in my experience with homeschool kids, so... Nope, move. We are getting absolutely fried here. Ooh, we got enough sparkly bits to buy something. We just have to live long enough to use them. Which might not happen here. We're dying pretty fast. Oh, we did it. Okay. Woo. Okay, we need to go find some place to drop off all these shards before we die, because we're on the verge of dying. So let's find Oh, oh, no, that's not good. We don't want that. Let's go over here. Please don't kill me. Let me get the gear. That's what we're out here for, is gear. The other unpopular opinion I have, and this is in conjunction with movies. Emmy and I went and saw the new Disney remake for Haunted Mansion, and it was good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it was a very good, family-friendly, fun horror movie. No problems there. But at the end of the movie, they did this thing that I really despise. So the main character, without too many spoilers, the whole story's about how much he loved his wife and his wife passed away. Pretty common trope. Nothing spoilerish there, right? So that's pretty normal stuff. But my problem was that at the end of the movie, as if you couldn't predict it, again, there might be minor spoilers here, but it shouldn't be spoilers, is he falls in love with another one of the characters, which there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but why is it every story has to end with a man who, his wife is now dead, but he finds love again, and that's his happy ending? Like, why does everyone have to get remarried? Like, I know we've talked about this before, but I never plan to get remarried. If, God forbid, Emmy passes before me, that's it. I had my love. I'm not going to seek out to marry anyone else ever. But Hollywood seems to think that, like, that's not acceptable. You can't have an ending that is, I'm happy with my life, and so I am going to spend the last bit of my life alone and, rejoin my wife in heaven when I pass away. It always has to be, I'm going to fall in love with someone else and forget about my wife because I fell in love again. Like, I understand they're trying to say, oh, you can love again, you can find happiness again, but I think a better message would be, I'm happy with who I am, and I'm happy that I got to, share this time with my wife, and so I'm going to be content with that until we meet again. Like, why is that such a hard ending to ask for? Why is that such a like anomaly that no one wants to put that in a movie? Like, who would it offend to make that the ending? Are people really gonna get like that upset about it, that they know, well, we can't do that because that's an ending people won't be happy with? Like, would it really upset people that bad for someone to say, I don't need to get married again? Like, I don't see it as that big of a deal, and yet every single movie ends that way. Regardless of that, though, it was still, like I said, it was a good movie. Much better than, we went and saw Cobweb. That was a terrible horror movie, so I was happy to get a good horror movie in. And then we're going to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, we got one shot. We're going to go see the Mutant Turtles and Meg 2 this week. Very excited for those. There was another movie that's coming out soon that I'm excited for, and I honestly can't remember what movie that was, but it'll come to me. We've seen so many movies. I am not endorsed by Regal Cinema. I would love to be, but I am not. I gotta tell you, their $20 for an unlimited movie pass is like the deal of the century. We have seen so many movies. Like, 2 movies and your ticket is paid for. We see like 4 or 5 a month. Like, we save so much money. Granted, we probably spend it on popcorn, which is, I mean, that's the whole point of it, right? They give you cheap movies so that you'll buy popcorn and drinks, but I'm happy to support them, right? Like, if we don't support them, then they're not going to keep doing that deal. So I see it as a win-win, because I love movie theater popcorn. That is one of my absolute favorite things, is movie theater popcorn. Does not help with weight loss, though, considering a little known fact, probably well known fact now, the butter topping that they put on popcorn that makes it so delicious isn't butter, it's oil. It's just pure, like, canola oil flavored like butter. So basically, when you ask for butter on your popcorn, they are not giving you butter. It's just they're pouring oil directly onto the popcorn. which makes it delicious, but I can't say that it's probably good for you in any way, shape, or form. Oh boy, these guys are almost 20 levels higher than me. Where did that guy go? There was a dude here. He ran off without me. That's not good. We needed said dude to help us out. I'm gonna grab this helm really quick. Probably won't be replacing my helmet anytime soon, but we're hoping to get lucky. That's all we're just getting gearing up, right? So we're just hoping to get ancestral, super high rolled gear so that we can level up faster and be overpowered. But so far, we have not had much luck with that. We're gonna hang out here. I found that if you hang out in like these little mission spots, players come and I can hang out with them for a little bit and they can do all the killing for me. I also saw, I'm really excited for this. I am almost certain I'm going to be disappointed with it, but Twisted Metal got a TV show on Peacock, Sweet Tooth. I really want to see that. I know in my heart of hearts that it's not going to be great, but I'm excited to see it. I also watched the new episode of Futurama last night. You know, we got the new season of Futurama coming out, and that is 2 for 2 episodes that have been bad. Like, this season is off to a bad start. The characters are all over the place. The jokes just aren't landing. Like, it's just not good. And it makes me real nervous for the King of the Hill reboot, because I love King of the Hill. And if they can't get Futurama right, what are the chances that they're going to get King of the Hill right? I don't think we're going to get a good King of the Hill reboot, sadly. Oh, that thing almost took us out. Oh, she's doing a lot of damage. It's good. The Twisted Metal show is good. Is it good, or is it good for a video game adaptation? Because those are two very different things. Being a good TV show and being a good TV show for a video game adaptation. I'm glad to hear it's a fun watch. I loved Twisted Metal as a kid. That's how I got introduced to Rob Zombie and Metal Gear, or not Metal Gear, Twisted Metal 2. Dragula played all the time in that game, and it was like the best song on there. Alright, what do we got here? These gloves are not very good, not very good, not very good. That's okay. Dealing lightning damage, that's okay. Ooh, 794, that's what we're looking for. Look at those pants. Okay, we might need those pants. Boots are not good, not good, not good. When I was talking about like Blizzard being awful, this is part of it. Like, this is not fun. In the old Diablos, the old Diablo games, basically you only needed green items or orange items. So you can see here I've got like 2 legendaries, 3 legendaries, so I only had to look through those. The way the stats work in this game now, I have to look at every single one of these items to determine if it's better than what I have or not. And that's just not fun to look at which one of these numbers are going up and which one of these numbers are going down. Like, they need such a better system. Let's see. Razor Plate. Ooh. That is not good. It's an ancestral unique. Look at that huge item level on there, though. But that is not a good item, unfortunately. Let's see. 709. That is a good item, but I can't replace my chest piece with that. So I think we're just going to walk away with these pants. Damage reduction, potion, drop rate. The damage reduction kind of is bad. We didn't get a great roll there. The rabies isn't great either. You know, we're probably just going to wait for a better roll. I don't think we're going to keep any of this. So let's go ditch all this. Repair all of our items. Ditch that. We want that ability, so we're going to keep that for that ability. And am I going to play Baldur's Gate? Baldur's Gate 3. So maybe. It's definitely a firm maybe. Let's see here. Let's get some better. Let's go for pants. Where are pants? Gamble on everything. Did I get anything good? No. 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 Wow. Terrible gamble. Okay. So Baldur's Gate. So I got Baldur's Gate 3 during the pre-order, and they let you play like the first act or so if you pre-ordered it. So I've already played the first act, and I love Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Let me start off by saying that I absolutely love Baldur's Gate. I love Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I love all those things. I did not like Baldur's Gate 3. And a part of that is because the studio who made it, Larian Studios, the maker of Baldur's Gate 3. And they made Divinity, which was great. Divinity was a great game. But the Baldur's Gate 3 just does not... The D&D mechanics do not translate well to a video game. And it didn't feel like playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like... And I get this is mostly just a problem with me and how I play D&D, but like, so there would be a chest, and you would go up to the chest and you would roll to unlock it, and then you would fail the lock, and then, okay, I failed. Oops, I'm gonna reload, and then you would just reload and keep reloading until you unlocked it, or you could just say, okay, well, I didn't pick that lock, so now that's just locked forever. To me, that's not really fun. That's not good, engaging gameplay. And, like, there's one section where you're fighting, like, goblins or something, and you're on all these, like, precarious pillars, and all it boiled down to was you run up to the enemy and you try and shove them off the cliff. And if you shove them, they instantly die. But, oh no, if they shove you, you instantly die. That doesn't feel... like Dungeons and Dragons. That doesn't feel fun. Be like, okay, I pushed him, I missed, so he pushed me, I fell off, I die, reload. Like, all it felt like was just constantly reloading the game. Like, it didn't feel like a Dungeons and Dragons adventure. I will try it again when it comes out, mostly because there is couch co-op, and I love Dungeons and Dragons, and I've always wanted to share Dungeons and Dragons with Emmy, but Emmy is not a huge fan of D&D. The paper and pencil, sitting down, doing that. So I'm hoping that this will be a good compromise, that she will enjoy it enough that we can play together. But I'm not hopeful of that actually working, but we're gonna try. So I will get it when it comes out. We will do the couch co-op because I like couch co-op games. And here's hoping that it's enjoyable enough for her that we can just enjoy it. But it doesn't feel like Dungeons and Dragons. It feels like a Divinity game, which Divinity was a great game. I liked Divinity, but it's not Dungeons and Dragons. And I just don't know if it's because like 5th edition doesn't go well with it, or like I loved Baldur's Gate 2 Shadows of Amn. Like, I played the heck out of that game, but I didn't play as much of D&D back then, so maybe it's because I didn't understand the rules. I don't know what the difference is, but it just something's not right about the way you play D&D 5th edition on a computer. It didn't feel right. Of course, it might be my only option for playing Dungeons and Dragons for a little bit here, because like I said, I've been playing a little bit more Warhammer, and Warhammer takes up, my free time that I was going to use to play D&D, so it's like one or the other. I can play Warhammer or I can play D&D, but I can't play both. So, I probably won't be playing Dungeons and Dragons for a while anyways. There is a Christian D&D game I've been dying to try and play, but I can never get the right players together for it. And this is one of those things that really frustrates me, is like when you post online and say, I'm running a D&D game, everyone and their dog will apply for the game because everyone wants to play D&D. Fair, I want to play D&D, I get that. But like they won't even read what the game is about or what I'm trying to do. They're just like, hey, pick me, without even knowing what I'm doing. And it's so obvious because every time I do this, I say, I want players who are going to talk outside the game. I'm looking for people who want to be a part of the world and part of everything that I'm doing. And then I'll invite them to my Discord and say, all right, I'm going to let you hang out in my Discord for a little bit to prove to me that you're going to talk. And then inevitably they stop talking. And it's just like, that's exactly the problem, right? Like, I want a player who's going to stick around and who's going to chat, and when you can't even commit to chatting a few times a week in the Discord, then obviously you're not going to be who I want for the game. And every time I've opened up my game to bring people in, they have failed that requirement. And I want to do it as a podcast. I want other people to be able to enjoy the game that I'm trying to make and experience this Christian Dungeons and Dragons. And so I've done 2 D&D podcasts in the past. And both times I've done them, people have flaked out on me after just a few times. And then, I paid for podcast hosting, I paid for art for the podcast, I have all the professional equipment, and then I'm out all that money and time. So I'm not doing it. I'll keep saying, okay, here we go, we're going to play this game, but until I get players who actually stick around and do what they're committing to, it's just not going to happen. Emmy's here. Post it, it's your turn for book posts. Emmy has been writing a whole lot lately, and now I get to write a little bit and contribute to the book. It is not a 50-50. I would say she's writing 90% of the book, and I give like bone structure of, this is kind of what I think the character would say, and then, we go from there. But she is a much, much better writer than I am. So this is another unpopular opinion that I know will upset some people out there, but like, this is especially bad in like the Christian circles. That like, people write books and self-publish. There's nothing wrong with self-publishing a book. I'm not going to hold self-publishing against anyone. But there are so many people who flood the Christian forums to be like, well, I'm an author. I wrote a Christian book. And you go and look, and it's a self-published book, and it's like 50 pages, and it's just like, this is a book of my favorite prayers, and it's just like, page 1, oh Lord Jesus, you're so great, you're so wonderful, you are my Lord of everything. Page 2, like, I think that's being a little generous to call yourself an author when all you did was write down a couple prayers, throw it together, and then try and sell it for $50 on the Christian forums, like. And I know this is something we've talked about a whole lot too, but like, I would love to make money off my art. I would love to make money off of being able to talk to people about Christianity, about Catholicism. But the way people go about trying to just make money off of people who are Christian, it's so gross how, like, there's a million people who go and like, oh, I started a Christian clothing company. Did you start a Christian clothing company? Or did you go onto Redbubble, steal someone's quote, and then steal someone's picture, and then paste it on a shirt, and then try and pass it off for $55 as a premium Christ is Lord shirt? Like, are you really a Christian clothing company? Because I don't feel like you should call yourself a Christian clothing company if all you're doing is drop shipping someone else's work, or putting Christ is King on a water bottle and selling it for $75. Like, that's... Maybe I'm just being a jerk. Maybe I'm just an old man yelling at the clouds, but it used to mean something, to be an author, or to be a producer, or to create things. And I really feel like it's being cheapened by all these people who come out there, like it's like the people who on what do you call that? What is that website? LinkedIn. LinkedIn is notoriously bad for this, where people are like, you click on their profile and like, I'm the CEO, CFO, lead manager, entrepreneur, head steward of my company. And you look at their company, it's like they founded a LLC in their mom's basement 5 years ago. It's made $0, and now they're the CEO, CFO, Imagineer for their business. Like, come on, dude. Like, I get that everyone wants to be a CEO and it sounds like an impressive title, but saying you're the CEO of your own business that you started that makes no money and has done absolutely nothing does not make you a CEO. It's playing pretend at that point. Like, and it's so bad with that. Like, all of LinkedIn is just inundated with that. My favorite Facebook post I've seen lately, and I'm going at this one right now, is everyone is going to run away from this question: do you love God? Tag 3 friends and comment, otherwise you're going to hell. Yeah, I have a whole series on my YouTube where we go out and call out those manipulators who do that, because there are people who legitimately, like, I've seen this at least 50 times on the Christian forums. They go on there and ask, like, I saw one of those posts that said that if I didn't like it, then I don't love God. Is God mad at me? Is this a sin? Did I, like, blaspheme against God because I didn't like a Facebook post? Like, there are people who have mental illnesses and OCD and scrupulosity who struggle with that thing, and those sort of posts just are the lowest effort, preying on the most gullible, vulnerable, mentally ill people in our society, and it's gross. The amount of people who take advantage of Christians is gross. And I understand that some atheist somewhere is going to be like, well, actually, you're all gullible because you believe in Magic Sky Daddy. Like, whatever, I don't want to hear it. But there is a subsect of people who are just overly trusting, and they just get taken advantage of. And again, it's with those, oh, I'm supporting a small Christian business by buying their t-shirt. Like, no, you're supporting a bot that scrapes Reddit every day for designs and then makes a shirt and then sells it to you at an absorbent price. Like, this is one of those fascinating things. And I think it's a little bit better now, but there was a time where if you typed a tweet in, you could get a bot. You could say, if you tweeted out and said something along the lines of like, wow, I really wish they made a shirt that said this, you would then trigger a bot who would go and make a shirt with that exact saying, whatever you said in there, and then it would advertise it. It would pay for an advertiser to advertise it to you. Like, there were bots that were literally designed to scrape the internet for when people like, wow, I want this on a shirt. Or like, it would sit on Reddit and it would watch for like the D&D and stuff. Anytime there was like pretty dice or a funny saying or something, people like, wow, I want that. If you said I want that, it would trigger a bot who would go in, scrape that, and then try and sell it to you in every way imaginable. So, like, you're not supporting a company at that point. That's literally just a robot who's taking advantage of you. Like, it's sad. It's sad that you have to know about all this to even engage in the modern world. But here we are. What are you gonna do about it? I think that's all my rants for today. I think we got through all my rants. I can't think of let's see, we talked about Haunted Mansion, we talked about new movies, we talked a little bit about God, talked about how much we dislike Blizzard. Yeah, I think we've gotten through all the rants today. What are we gonna talk about now? I'm just now realizing that I forgot to get tissues while we were out. There's been so much pollen in the air. So many allergies lately. It's awful. Getting old is awful. Never had allergies, never had a problem with it. Turned 32. Now I'm allergic to stuff. Now I have to deal with pollen. Awful. Alright. Come on, good gear, good gear. Hoping for eye level 800 gear. 800 is the number. Something good. Oh, I see something ancestral. What do we get? We got ancestral boots. Awful, 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 awful. Nothing. Wow. We're just having terrible luck leveling up here. See, those are pants. We do need new pants. If these guys will kill these guys for me, we might be able to afford new pants. We can afford them. Run. Sneak in here, grab the pants. Grab the pants while that guy's stunned before he can kill me. Come on, dude. Let me buy the pants. I just want to buy pants. I don't want to fight you. There we go. Come on, good pants. Ancestral legendary pants. That is what we were looking for. Now let me pick them up. Get out of my way. Got him. Come on, move out of the way. Come over here. Let me pick up. I just want to pick up the pants, dude. I just want to pick up the pants. You leave me alone long enough to pick up the pants. This is such dumb gameplay. I literally can't pick up the pants because the enemies are in the way, and the button to pick up is the same button as you use to smack things. And I'm way, way out of my league out here. Such dumb gameplay. Alright, let's hope for a critical. We need to beat this guy because he's not going to leave me alone. Come on, crits. Oh, no, we activated the event. We're running. We're running away.
I'm not ready yet.
I also posted today that I saw on, it was on Reddit. There was a waiter or waitress who posted a receipt for a meal that they got that was like, they tipped for the meal, and in the tip line they wrote $6.66, and their signature was a pentagram that said "God's not real." And like, people are saying, well, you know, obviously, like, oh, I'd take the tip, like, free money. But like, the reactions to it are so strange because there's some people who are like, it would ruin my day. I would have to go to church and I'd have to pray nonstop because I couldn't have that demonic money, or, you know, if they gave it to me in cash, I would have to immediately go to the homeless shelter and donate it because having $6.66 and change is evil money, and I couldn't walk around knowing I had that evil money in me. And then there was people who were just like, I would take the money and go buy a beer. Like, that sounds like a good day to me. Like, it's so strange to see, like, the weird, varied answers that people give for that. Like, my answer was, you know, it's kind of rude. It's kind of rude for someone to do that because obviously they're targeting someone who they know believes in God, and they're trying to be like, oh, well, actually, God doesn't exist. Like, okay, but, like, do you really need to be that way? Like, what are you gaining from this? But, like, it wouldn't ruin my day. It wouldn't, like, I have to go directly to church to go cleanse myself of the evil numbers. Like, I don't understand that response. But then there's people out there who still believe that, like, reading Harry Potter tears open a rift between our worlds and causes evil to flow into the world. So, what do I know? That's another one of those unpopular opinions. You wouldn't think that it's unpopular, but every time I say on the Catholic forums that watching a horror movie or reading Harry Potter does not tear open rifts and cause demons to infest your home, people come in and get so obsessed. Like, well, an exorcist said it does, and he would know better than you. Like, okay, well, I don't want to disrespect him because obviously he is an exorcist with the Catholic Church, and I respect his right to his opinion, but there are so many things, like, I've read exorcists, like Catholic Church exorcists, who talk about floating bodies and things like that, and it's just like, give me the proof then. You're saying this stuff happens, and I know that I'm supposed to just believe you, but We live in a world where everything has a camera on it. Your fridge can have a camera. Your toaster can have a camera. Barbie dolls have cameras built into them. You're telling me that you talk all the time about all these magical floating instances and not a single one has ever been recorded? Like, I don't buy it. I don't buy that it happens that much and that no one's recorded it. And like there was an interview with an exorcist on the news not long ago that was again on Reddit where they were talking about he exorcised a demon. And he's like, oh well, this was a super high up, super powerful lieutenant of demons of hell. And like, oh well, what's his name? It's like, oh I dare not speak the name. And it's like, okay, but I understand, but at the same time, there's a razor, a saying like Occam's razor. There's another one. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it's essentially anything that can be claimed without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. Like, clearly we should have some evidence of any of this happening, and we just don't. And I get that it's ironic me saying that as a Christian. People saying, "Oh, we have no evidence for God. You can't see God, so why are you not accepting this?" But we have 2,000 years of tradition and great things to build upon in the church. But it seems like every modern exorcism is just like, well, you're just gonna have to believe me because I'm an expert, but I'm not allowed to reveal any information. Well, then sorry, I don't believe you. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't see why or how watching killer clowns from outer space. I don't understand the logic of that. Is because okay, well, I gotta start over on this one. Satan is not God. The devil is not God. Therefore, the devil does not have the same powers as God. The devil is not omnipotent, all-knowing, all-powerful, right? That is reserved for God alone. Okay. Knowing that the devil is not all-knowing, all-powerful, all places at once, does he really have nothing else to do than sit in my living room and wait for me to watch killer clowns from outer space? And that somehow gives him the power to say, you watched the movie. All right, Beelzebub, get in there. Go mess up his life. He watched the movie. He opened the portal by turning on the Terrorizer or Scream. Like, what difference does it make to the devil? I understand the idea of like, okay, Ouija boards and occult. I understand that you're messing with the occult, and I sort of get the logic there. But like, the Winnie the Pooh movie, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. What is it that the devil can live in that VCR tape, but he can't live in Paw Patrol? Like, I don't understand the logic behind it. And I try so hard to understand the logic behind it. It doesn't seem like there's logic behind it. It just seems like it's some guy arbitrarily sharing his feelings, and because other people don't agree with him, he gets upset and continues to say it with no proof, with nothing to back it up. And again, I'm more than happy to be wrong. If someone wanted to show me proof or evidence, I would take it. But I don't see how Paw Patrol, nothing. Scream 2, all the demons come out and fly into your living room and ruin your life. Like, I don't see the arbitrary difference between those two things. And like, even Ouija boards, I dare to question that, because it seems like most modern Ouija boards are just overpriced pieces of cardboard that people go, ooh, it's scary. It's basically a board game. It's make-believe. It doesn't seem like there's anything really to it. Again, I'm more than happy to be wrong. I'm more than happy for people to say, here's proof you're wrong, but I've never seen an actual old Ouija board. Like, they all seem like they've been made by Hasbro since the 1980s. And I don't see how that impacts anything. I don't get it. Maybe that makes me a bad Catholic. Maybe I don't have a good enough faith. Okay, that was the other thing. That was the other thing I wanted to talk about today. we were talking about how, like, if someone says that they're the CEO, CFO of a business on LinkedIn, you're like, they're probably making all that up just to make themselves important. I think the same thing happens a whole lot in Christianity. The amount of people who, for whatever reason, have to go online to like Reddit and TikTok and YouTube and announce to the world and say, like, I'm saved because God loves me so much, I'm so holy, I pray so much, like, maybe I'm just distrusting, but if you have to announce to the world how saved you are and how holy you are, you're probably not any of those things, right? Like, if you were truly this holy and pious, why would you need to go on TikTok to tell other people how holy and pious you are, right? Like, when I'm answering people's questions on the Catholic forums, I will usually include some information so they know, like, this is how I'm not talking out my rear end because this is what I've read or this is where this information comes from, citing my sources. But I would never start it by saying, well, I'm so holy, so I know the answer to it. Like, what? It seems so self-defeating to be like, well, I know that I'm saved because God loves me so much because I pray so much. Okay, good for you, but the Bible literally says that if you go around telling people how much you pray, then you've already gotten your reward and your prayers mean nothing. So maybe you should read the Bible more than going onto Reddit and telling people how much you pray. Like, you know? As someone who has been a pagan for so long and then converted to Catholicism, yes, you need to have faith, but I chose Catholicism because of logic, because of science, and because of historical evidence. I wouldn't have converted if there wasn't strong evidence for God. See, that's where the evidence argument falls apart. Whenever you talk to like an atheist about evidence, they're gonna say, "Well, give me evidence," and so you'll provide them all the evidence in the world that we have, because there's Thomas Aquinas' proof. There's a lot of proofs that we can talk about, and they'll say, "Well, that's not evidence." So if you're ever talking to someone like, "Well, I need evidence for God," ask them what they mean by evidence, and I guarantee you, the answer is going to be something along the the line of, evidence has to be that Jesus Christ will descend from a cloud in heaven, come to me, perform a miracle, and prove to me undoubtedly that he is God. Like, that goes against most of Christianity. Like, that's not going to happen. So if you're wanting to have that discussion with someone, you first got to make sure, okay, what do you accept as evidence? Because chances are they're not going to accept any evidence that you give them anyways, and then you're just going to end up wasting your time, which is, it's okay, right? Like, it's good to have these discussions, but as I tell people all the time when I'm helping them on these forums and such, like, if you're not going to change your mind, and I'm not going to change my mind, and all we're going to do is quote documents at each other who we don't believe, what's the point of the discussion? If no one's going to gain anything, no one's going to change their mind, and nothing's going to change, why are we having this discussion? It seems like our time could be better spent on other things if we can all agree at the beginning that no one's going to change their mind and no one's going to change anything. Well, then maybe we don't need to waste our time having this discussion if that's how this is going to be, Those require level 80. I can't use those for quite some time, so those are probably not very useful to me. You don't get to demand proof from the father of literally everything, and it's super entitled to expect it. I mean, I don't disagree with that either. There's definitely a lot of truth in that. Well, as I try and tell people, like, the whole point of faith is that there has to be room for doubt. If there's no room for doubt, then faith doesn't account for anything, right? If God descended from heaven on a cloud and performed miracles and proved to everyone unequivocally that yes, I exist and there's no doubt about it, I am God, there's no denying me. Okay, well then, yes, some people would have some free will to still go and say, oh, I'm not going to believe in God, but most people say, well, I can't not believe in him. He showed me. Like, there's no room for faith if there's that exact instance that they always ask for. It's contrary to faith. It's contrary to the beliefs. So that's why you don't get that. That's why it doesn't happen, because against everything the religion stands for. So people fail to fully understand that, I think, and that causes some issues as well. I'd also like to point out that I have been streaming for over an hour, and my camera has not yet died, so this battery pack that I got for it works amazingly. I will also have to show with you guys a couple pictures. I went and did some street photography today, and I think I got some good photos. It's hard. Street photography, like, it's not hard necessarily to find a good picture so much as it is just, I feel so uncomfortable, like, just taking pictures of people out in public, right? Because people don't want their pictures taken out in public. They don't want you to just come and start taking their pictures while they're walking around. So it's picking your targets, not interrupting people, not causing a scene, respecting people. Like, it's really hard to do all that. I do respect there's a TikTok channel that does that sort of photography, and he goes up and asks them first, like, hey, can I take your picture? And the people say yes, and so that's definitely the way to do it. But at that point, it's not as candid, right? You're losing the moment because you're asking. However, while I was out taking pictures, this dude walks up to me, and he was like the poster child for a very certain kind of person. I don't know exactly how to I don't know what that word for that person is, but this dude walks up, cowboy boots, smoking Marlboros or Camel cigarettes, and he's like, "You taking pictures?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, how about some pictures of me?" And he takes off his shirt and, does like the whole, like, waving his hands through his hair, party on, like, so confident. So I took his pictures. I'm sure those will turn out amazing. Just like, dude had all the confidence in the world. And then he's just like, all right, thank you. And then off he went in his cowboy boots and his Camel cigarettes and Monster Energy drink. And it was, yeah, that happened today. I'll show you the pictures when I'm done here. You can see them. The dude was, and like, he had something tattooed on his back. So I was, trying to make conversation. I was like, oh, cool. What do you have tattooed on your back? He was like, my last name. Like, that is such a stereotype. Getting your, like, own name tattooed on your back is dude was pretty cool though, so I can't wait to touch up those photos. Those are gonna be a blast to go through. I also got a shot of the cutest dog with his tongue hanging out of the car. So I got some good shots today. I'm very happy with some of the things that I got. Oh boy, we've got 10 minutes left. I've got to turn in some of my stuff. Let's try... Oh, we were going to resurrect that guy, but I guess not. I also heard... I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that the state competition for mullets was going on. There was some picture floating around of people in a mullet competition, and my instinct is to say there's no such thing, but also, like, that's totally a believable thing that would happen in the USA, is a mullet competition. So I'm really curious to Google if mullet competitions are really a thing, and if so, what is the criteria for winning a mullet competition? What is the criteria for being the best mullet in America? I really want to know, like, how do you score that? How do you judge that? Because let's see, we're about ready to run out of stuff. Being Chuck Norris. Did Chuck Norris have a mullet? It's been so long. It's so long since I've seen, like, a Chuck Norris joke and a picture of Chuck Norris to go with it. It has been a long time since I've seen a Chuck Norris meme. Oh, you sweet summer child. Look, you all know, all you who watch me, as a part of watching me, you already know that I'm going to have no idea what the heck you're talking about 90% of the time, especially if it comes to, like, pop culture or celebrities or music or anything like that. You already know that I'm not going to know what you're talking about. Like, I don't think I could pick Chuck Norris out of a crowd, but that's not like a, oh my gosh, you don't know any. Like, I couldn't pick Jennifer Lopez out of a crowd, excuse me, or Beyonce, or Rihanna, or Jay-Z, or Kanye West. Like, I have no idea what any of those people do or what they look like or anything about them. So, like, it shouldn't be shocking to you. Nobody needs to pick J-Lo out of a crowd. She's mean. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I couldn't tell you eye color, hair color. I couldn't tell you one thing about her. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Like, I can probably pick Gerard Butler out of a crowd because I really like Gerard Butler. So I'm fairly confident I could do that one. But that would probably be about the extent of my ability to pick a celebrity out of a crowd. So nobody should be shocked that I don't know if Chuck Norris has a mullet or not. Alright, I think we're about done with this area. We're gonna close up in 6 minutes. I might get enough shards for one more turn in, but I doubt it.
I'm not ready yet.
Grab that. Got some ancestral amulets. We got some good stuff. We got 7 more shards, guys. Come on, give me 7 more shards. Where are you going? Up there?
I must wait a moment.
Oh, come on. Lagging. We're lagging. Don't want to be lagging. Alright, we got 75. Let's go grab that really quick. Ooh, we almost ran right into that fire. Let's go turn in some shards. Don't get one shot by these guys.
I'm not ready yet.
No. No. Come on. I just want the chest, dude. Leave me alone. There we go. Anything good. Want something good. Ancestral armor. Alright. Now we're just getting experience at this point. Oh, people are leaving. Let's get out of here. Get out of here. And we're out of there. Alright, let's do one last look through of gear, and then I'm going to be done for the day. What did we get? Got Boots of Shared Misery. Nothing good. Nothing good. Looking for 800. That's pretty good, but I lose my werebear skills, so I can't upgrade that. No. Ooh. And Venom. Ooh, strength percentage. That could be really good. 685. Didn't I get 2? Oh, 756. Quicksand, wild impulses, storm skill reduction. Not quite. I don't think we're going to use any of this either, so bummer. Bad load of stuff. As always, let's end with our prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Lord, thank you for this blessed day. Thank you for all that you do for me. Today we pray for those who are out in this heat, those who are still experiencing the heat wave. Lord, give them shelter, food, and water, all the things they need to continue to survive and thrive. Lord, we pray that all souls find their way to you, all souls find happiness and love through our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And finally, we pray for those souls in purgatory, those souls who have no one left to pray for themselves. Lord, help them to enter your everlasting kingdom. Amen. All right, that's it for me today. Thank you, everyone who did hang out and chat and all that. Thank you for everyone who's watching on YouTube. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I will stream again later this week as I am still on vacation, but I'm very busy this week, so we're doing all sorts of stuff. So I will see you when I see you. Thank you so much. Have a great day and blessed evening.